Alright, so in this series I'm going to show you how I'm making my favorite burgers, and in episode 1 I'm going to show you how I make my game day sliders. Alright, so what we've got here is some 80/20 ground Wagyu beef. Now the trick to this is to make sure you get a really high fat content beef, which Wagyu does have naturally, and this is going to make sure you get a really nice crust and you don't need any extra oil in the pan. We've got some really nice thinly sliced onions, and we've got 6 beautiful brioche slider buns. We have got some lovely fresh lettuce, some thinly sliced tomatoes, and some Colby Jack cheddar cheese, and we're going to season all of this with some pink Himalayan sea salt. So the first thing we're going to do is get the cast iron pan nice and hot, and we're going to let that come up to temperature. So this has been on for about 5 minutes of heating, so it gets a nice heat all the way through the pan. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to take some salt and season up those Wagyu patties nice and evenly. And now we're not going to put any extra fat in the pan because the Wagyu has got a lot of the fat in it. And we've cut these into squares so that they have a nice even surface, they cook evenly throughout, and they get a nice crispy edge. Alright, so I'm going to take these patties and place them in a nice hot pan, salt side down first, and you can already smell immediately that really beautiful caramelization on the fat that's filling the air. And I'm going to make sure that we get a nice seal on these and a little bit more salt on the top to make sure that they're seasoned all the way through. And then I'm going to put a bit of baking paper on top, and then I'm just going to take something and press these down so that they have a nice flat surface on the bottom, and this is going to make sure we get a good crust. So I'll leave the paper on top of these for the first round of searing, and then that just helps give them a nice steam and make sure that the patties come up to temperature all the way through. While we're doing that, what we can do is start looking at our buns and thinking about dressing these buns. So typically you're going to put a little bit of mayo. This is garlic mayo on the bottom of these buns, and then we're going to dress the tops with a little bit of the OG Heinz ketchup while we're waiting for these patties to finish cooking. So once these are nicely steamed up and you've got a nice sear on the bottom, we're just going to press these down a little bit, make sure there's no juices coming out, and then flip them over so that you can see here we've got a nice brown bit of sear on this Wagyu patty, and we're just going to continue to flip all these over, and then I'll just give them another press down with the paper at the end. And for this side we're going to leave the paper off so that we can stick the cheese on, and then that starts to steam as we cook the second side of these patties. So the cheese is on, and now we're going to move over to sticking the lettuce onto the buns and start building these sliders out. You're going to want to stick the lettuce down first, and what that is going to do is, as the moisture releases from the burgers, it's going to stop your buns from going soggy. And then the next thing we're going to do is layer up our thinly sliced onions and then our thinly sliced tomato while we wait for that steam to melt on top of the cheese. Alright, so now the burgers are fully cooked and we've let them rest inside the pan for a minute, and that just allows them to not stick and release a little bit from the non-stick pan. And now it's time to dress up our sliders and transfer these from the pan onto the buns. Now these sliders are going to be perfect for yourself, for a party, for game day. They just go down really well any time of the day with the nice fresh lettuce, the fresh tomatoes, and then we'll get that top half on, and then we're just going to stick a little pick through each one of these just to hold it together nicely, and then it makes it a lot easier. So we're going to want to take a really sharp knife and then cut down through the middle and then split these up so it makes it easier for serving. Now these are really delicious, so you can either have 3 of these on your own, which I did, or you can share them with someone else. Really nice cross section, and they look beautiful. So these are absolutely outstanding. You can make them with normal beef or Wagyu beef, and as you can see, these absolutely look great. And then they came out with a really nice medium center once I bit into these.